Stop playing this game of emotional bankruptcy. Hey love, welcome to Journey to Self. I'm Sharr, aka Soul Love Sari, intuitive energy alchemist and catalyst for emotional wealth and energy management. Journey to Self is where intuitive and empathic women ready to be free of emotional exhaustion come to learn how to build emotional wealth and restore their energy from the inside out. It's about emotional economics and investing. Your emotional energy is a resource. Just like your money, energy grows where it's respected. Every time you take action and make decisions aligned with the truth of who you are, you earn emotional interest. So if you're ready to keep your energy rich, your emotions clear, and your boundaries paid and fucking full, hit follow or subscribe and let's dive in. Listen, keep being the strong one and you will forever be angry, bitter, frustrated, and disappointed instead of being happy. There was a time, if you can believe it or not, where I used to bend over backwards to make sure everybody around me was happy, enjoying themselves, and taken care of. My mindset at the time was just that I never wanted anyone to have a bad experience with me or around me, right? It wasn't about being liked. For me, it was much, much deeper than that. Like most intuitive, highly sensitive, and empathic people, I just knew what it was like to not be or to never be considered. And I never wanted my presence, my words, or actions to be the cause of that happening to other people. So, of course, now I have a totally different outlook on life. But back then, I hadn't realized a lot of the things that I know now. To my point, because we'll be on it all day. To my point, I would always be the one checking in and checking on people, listening to their problems and holding space for emotional support, etc., etc. Only to rarely, if ever, receive anything anyone would consider to be remotely the same. Okay, sure, I wasn't doing these things actively looking for something in return or keeping some type of tabs or anything like that. Crafting and providing a safe space is just simply the nature of how I am astrologically and energetically wired. But at some point you begin to notice that shit ain't adding up, okay? And eventually you find yourself spiraling further and further into the emotional patterns of feeling rejected, abandoned, never considered, or unappreciated. So when I found myself tired and fed up, because at some point you do get tired and realize you deserve better, I decided to do a little experiment to see what would happen. Basically, I wanted to see if I could restore my energy and transform the emotional exhaustion of being the strong one into me instead being supported, cared for, and considered in my relationships, preferably without having to cut people off entirely. Nah, spoiler alert, there was a lot of losses, okay? To be frank, it couldn't be helped. In the end, most of the relationships I've been taught to seek out and entertain were just simply relationship types and with people who did not align with who I truly am. They did, however, match the shadow frequency I was parading around in at the time. In other words, I just didn't know any better. Truth is, sometimes motherfuckers are just parasites or like poisonous invasive plants that will completely consume you if you don't chop their asses off at the root. I call these energetic liabilities, okay? They sink their teeth into you, your plans, your hopes, your dreams, and especially your energy, and take you for literally everything that they can before you have a chance to realize or even notice and minimize the damage, okay? So during this experience or experiment, I actually ended up I learned that I had 3 of these, and baby, recovery was a bitch. Now, to be fair, on the other hand, sometimes it's the types of relationships, the character of people, and the status that you are taught to want, need, desire, and in a lot of instances depend on that fuck you over, right? This part of the experiment was, for lack of a better word here, a doozy. It honestly took a lot of time to get over and to understand the psychological damage that was created when you realize that you are responsible for correcting beliefs, mindsets, habits, and behaviors that you didn't actually program into yourself. Like, it was a doozy, okay? But there is something here that I actually want you to understand before we continue. And this is important, okay? Write it down if you need to. Our parents, present or absent, doesn't matter. They did the best that they knew how to do with what they had in the moment that they had it, okay? So whatever it was that they knew at the time to do for the best interest of either themselves or you and themselves, depending upon where their own mindset was. They just did the best that they could do. Now, to be clear, this does not in any way, shape, form, or fashion excuse the things that they have done to you or put you through. Okay? This is simply about you understanding how to release the things that you cannot change, so you can focus on what you do actually have control over, which is you. You have control over how happy you allow yourself to be and to feel. And it is you alone who determines what you will actually allow to wreak havoc on your peace. Both happiness and peace are states of being. They are internal and they radiate from within your inner world. Your heart and mind truly are amazing things. But you have to get to a space, to a perspective, to a way of identifying with both yourself and the world around you that allows you to, again, detach from things that you can't control. Not detach as in ignore or be in denial, but detach from the need to control it or to be in this space, in this never-ending loop of wishing you could have controlled it, or that there being something that you shoulda, coulda, woulda, needed to have done. Like, that's not the point. It hurts, yes, but it's not the point. The point is your happiness and your sense of peace and what is required in the present moment now for you to be able to return back to it. Okay, again, it's an inside job. It's something, it's a state of being that originates from your inner world. All right, so in this experiment, what exactly did I do? First, I took the time to purge my emotions. So this was so that I could see the full picture of my emotional debt. Now, I know a lot of y'all are like, girl, what? Yes, the only way over it is through it. The only way to it is through it. Like, you cannot heal what you refuse to acknowledge, okay? So the first step I took was I purged my emotions so that I can see the full picture of my emotional debt, where my energy was leaking, what the hell was going on, and to even identify the core of the issue. So following my signature methodology for emotional healing, I used a series of journal prompts that I created to flush everything out and identify the core emotion that I was feeling. So if this is something that you want in terms of the exact list of these questions and journal prompts that I asked myself, then you can find them inside the Promise Journal, where I'll walk you through, again, my signature methodology step by step. You can find that listed over on my website, or just simply use the link in the description box below. Now, once I nailed down the emotion or the core emotion, I traced it back through my experiences leading up to how I was feeling so that I could tangibly see exactly where my energy was leaking and what in my environment caused those energy leaks. So for me, in this particular case, the core emotion was anger. And what was causing that anger really boiled down to fear. So fear of not being liked, fear of being rejected, fear of not being loved or seen as worthy of being around because my presence would be interpreted as not safe. All the things. Like, again, for me, it was all about wanting to feel safe, being a safe space for other people. Like, the problem was just that I had no fucking boundaries. Okay. The next thing I did was look at what I wanted to have happen instead of what actually did. So in a perfect world, if things were different or could be different, what would I want to have happen? Right? And so the reason that you need to physically write everything out is so that you can tangibly see things objectively and focus on the facts of what happened to you and take your insecurities out of it. Remember earlier I said your peace and your happiness is an inside job, and in order for you to figure out what it is that you require or is necessary for you to be in a state of peace and happiness, like, you're going to have to look at things objectively, not from a space of being overwhelmed. So this allows you to show yourself grace, right? And have compassion for yourself and see yourself as worth protecting, because it's like you begin to see yourself through the lens of someone who truly and genuinely cares for and about you, the same way that you would to protect your siblings, your best friend, or child, except the sibling, the best friend, or inner child is you. Once I had those details, I then began to identify and craft these specific boundaries that I would need to have in place and or live by if I wanted to experience the preferred outcomes I desired in a quote unquote perfect world moving forward. So again, this is not about changing what happened or getting stuck in this negative self-talk or negative thought loops of what you shoulda, coulda, woulda did. It's about giving yourself the space, the freedom, the ability to be able to see things from a different perspective and see the possibility of what could happen, of what could be, not punish yourself for what wasn't or what you didn't do. So it's more so about being able to pinpoint what your options are going forward and what you would like things to look like moving forward, and making choices and taking actions and making decisions that lead to those types of outcomes. Make sense? And so then from there, I simply set a personal policy to respect and honor my boundaries as non-negotiables. Okay. If you struggle with knowing what boundaries to set or even how to set them in the first place, then you're going to want to grab the Promise Journal on my website, where I'll walk you through my exact thought process on how I did all of this. Okay. This is a system that helps you track where your energy, emotional energy, is leaking, so that you can actually stop being drained by things like people pleasing and instead start building that emotional wealth both quickly and easily. Like, you won't have to go through all of the strife, stress, and struggle that I went through in order to do it. Okay. Like, things would be a lot more simple, easy, and short-lived in terms of the stress and anxiety of it all. Now, there's something else about boundaries and setting them that is very important that we dive into for a quick second here. So think of this as a quick little side quest. Okay. This particular part of the experiment and experience was a bit tricky at first, because you have to be willing and prepared to walk the fuck away. Okay. And the only way to do this is to shift into the identity or version of you that doesn't negotiate with fucking terrorists. Okay. Now, when I first started trying to set these boundaries and put everything in place, baby, this walking away part was, again, a doozy. Okay. I naively went into this genuinely thinking and believing that I would be able to save all of my relationships, when unfortunately that just wasn't the case. And that gets to be okay. All right. What you need to understand when you start talking about setting boundaries and getting to this space where you feel comfortable and are prepared to walk away is that the moment you start setting boundaries, the moment you start saying no, the moment you start asking questions and expecting truthful and honest answers, transparent answers, and all the things, is the moment that you create obstacles for people trying to use you, drain your energy, tap into whatever, any and all benefits that they get simply from being in your presence. You create obstacles and limitations as to what type of access they get to that. And so it's kind of like being cut off cold turkey for someone who's trying to quit smoking or something else, you know, like it's like trying to break a bad habit cold turkey. When you are initially cut off and you have no substitute, you have no path to being able to wean yourself off of it slowly, it creates an abrupt, chaotic disruption. And when people lose access to your energy and your energetic supply and your presence, cold turkey or immediately without warning, it sets them off. Because here it's like receiving a monthly stipend for money, right? That you eventually get to a point where it's coming in steady, it's coming in predictably and consistently every month or every 2 weeks or whatever, and then suddenly it stops coming in. But you've built your entire lifestyle dependent on whatever that stipend or dollar amount of money is. And when it's no longer there, you're now left scuffling and scrambling, trying to figure out how to make ends meet. It's pretty much like that. And so what you need to understand is, when you develop this confidence and this self-awareness and this reassuredness within yourself, and understand your worth, understand your value and the value of your presence, and begin to take that away or cut people off from having access to it so freely and all willy-nilly, they will do everything under the sun to try to keep it or to make you feel guilty for taking it away. This is what makes sticking to, honoring, and upholding your boundaries so difficult. So people say whatever it is they think you need to hear or want to hear or want them to do in order to get back into your good graces so that the supply isn't cut off. So in order for you to get to this place where you are willing and prepared to walk the fuck away, you are going to have to get into a space where you value your own comfort and well-being over theirs. This does not mean that you care any less about them, that you love them anymore, that you wish them any type of harm, ill will, or anything like that. The problem is that you are not seeing that they are prioritizing themselves, their own wants, needs, well-being, and desires above you and yours. They're not considering you. You have proof of that when you wrote everything out, right? You have proof of that in how you feel after each interaction. You have to get to a point where you begin to value your health, your well-being, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, whatever, where you value your well-being, your happiness, your peace above theirs. When you think about it, these are people who are quite literally terrorizing your peace and your happiness. And when you get tired of dealing with that shit and the experiences that subject you to such discomforts, you will no longer have the willingness or interest, for that matter, in negotiating your emotional health and well-being. Now, as trying and tiring as this process was for me until I got the hang of things and really understood what was going on, which is again why I created the Promise Journal, to make this process easy for you, or easier for you, because shadow work is no joke, and especially even more so when you are having to do it on your own because you just lack the support. You don't have anyone that you can go to, right? My point is, what I learned from all of this, the emotional pattern I was stuck in and the experiment, is that people will play in your face for as long as you fucking let them. And the more you fear being disliked, the more you worry about people taking love from you, or not being accepted because how you feel and what you want or don't want, for that matter, doesn't agree with everybody else, is the more that you will find yourself in emotional debt until finally you become emotionally bankrupt. Now, in my case, being the strong one made me both angry and disappointed in more ways than I care to admit. But one thing anger knows is that your mistreatment and abuse are unacceptable, and that you deserve to both be treated well and with kindness. My anger wasn't there to consume me, and neither is yours, if that's where you are right now. It's there to warn you that the people and environments you are interacting with are not safe for you, specifically because they don't align with or support the truth of who you are, or what your energy needs emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally, etc. to thrive. And that disappointment I felt after every interaction was confirmation of what my anger had been trying to warn me and tell me about that I was ignoring. And so having clarity on my emotions and understanding that they are my teacher and not my hell to escape from are what helped me understand how badly I needed those boundaries, and the cost of emotional exhaustion that you inevitably pay or have to pay in the form of things like stress, anxiety, feeling or falling asleep, crying at night, feeling exiled and alone. Like, when you don't have honor or respect those boundaries, these are the sorts of things that you have to deal with, encounter, or will find yourself stuck in loops trying to deal with. If you keep being the strong one, you will forever be angry, bitter, frustrated, and disappointed instead of being happy. I know you deserve better than that, and after listening to today's episode, I hope you now do too. All right, my love, make sure you stay resourced. You can find my process for boundary setting and the specific journal prompts I came up with for this experiment inside the Promise Journal. It's located on my website, or just click the link listed for you below in the description box, all right? If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you like, follow, or subscribe depending on where you're listening right now, and comment your thoughts below. I love hearing about the things that inspire you in each episode and what started to click for you as you were listening. All right, console, till next time. Thanks so much for listening to Journey to Self, your number one resource for emotional wealth, energy management, and self-discovery, helping you learn how to stop overgiving to people, things, and situations that don't give back so you can be free of emotional exhaustion and restore your energy. Continue your journey from emotional debt to energetic wealth. Scroll down and meet me in the next episode. Bye, love.